Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Alain on this chilly Tuesday morning of February. It's about -5 out right now here in Missoula when I looked at the app, which isn't bad. There's places in Montana a lot colder. Now, watching the news this morning, I think it's going to be about -10 or so tonight, but there are other places in Montana that are going to be -25, -30. Wind chills in Missoula are expected to be in the -20s, but there are other places in Montana where the wind chill will be in the -40s. That's pretty damn cold. So I thought I'd give a few little tips because while it seems obvious to some of us that grew up in the North, I mean, I grew up in North Dakota as a kid when my dad was at Minot Air Force Base. Talk about some cold. But I learned to deal with the cold from my dad and living in that. So I've always prepared. But every year we have people succumbing to cold weather injuries, even dying because of cold weather. So I'll give you a few little tips. One, don't travel in this if you don't have to. Stay inside, stay where it's warm. Don't go out in it unless you have to. And if you do have to go out, be prepared. If you have to travel somewhere, make sure your vehicle is up for it. You want to check your tires. You want to make sure your antifreeze levels are there. You want to make sure that your heaters are working and your window defrosters. If you have a new car where everything's working, great. But if you're driving something older where you have problems with the heater or the window defrosters, you might not want to be doing it because that's going to make it unsafe. If you're going to go somewhere, make sure your gas levels are full before you go. You get in trouble and you get stranded somewhere, you want to have that extra gas to be able to help keep yourself warm if you have to, till help comes. Have some supplies in your vehicle. I got a big couple bags that go in my vehicle for the winter. I got summer stuff, but I got winter stuff. Extra clothes, you got your emergency blankets, you got your regular blankets, you got a shovel. You also, you got snacks, some protein bars and different things. You take your jug or two of water, depending on how many people in the car and where you're going. But you prepare just in case something bad were to happen. I got the cans of Sterno. I got knives. I got stuff just in case. You should too. Okay. So that's if you have to travel. Make sure you have the extra winter clothes in there just in case too. You're traveling and driving, the heater's working. You don't want to be all bundled up. But if something happens, you want to be able to have those clothes to put on. Went to a nice dinner 100 miles away, a couple weekends ago, right? Wore nice clothes. But I had the warm clothes in the car just in case. I had the warm boots just in case. Had that stuff in the car. It's just smart to be prepared just in case. Remember, dressing in the cold, layers, have your different layers. Now, if you're going to be out in the cold, you can go buy layers that will help you. You get your base layer, your other layers, your outer shell that's waterproof. So you're prepared to go out for it. If you're a skier or somebody that does a lot of cold weather things, about those layers and the different things. If you're not, do a little research, make sure you have those if you're going to be in a cold weather area. I'm drinking out of You'll Shoot Your Eye Out mug. The reason is because Ralphie there has the hat on. And if you remember the movie, Mom bundled them all up to go out in the cold. You don't have to maybe be bundled up where you can't move, but the hat, so important. We lose so much heat from our heads. So having a good hat that covers your head and neck and keeps yourself warm. Real cold, you want the face mask as well. Having that to keep yourself warm. Mittens that secure at the wrists, and so the jacket goes over it so there's no exposed skin. Mittens are going to be warmer than gloves. Now, depending on what you're doing, maybe you need gloves, and they do have some gloves that are warmer than others. But in general, a mitten will be warmer. So if you're dressing your kids, mittens are going to be warmer and keep those little hands from getting cold because your extremities, your fingers, your toes can get cold early. Good socks, good boots, insulated, so forth, waterproof. Have those things ready. Want to say good morning to Thad. Thad's here. Good morning, Thad. Hope you're staying warm on this cold morning. Cover your mouth to protect your lungs in that extreme cold. Okay, a scarf, a face mask, something. But breathing that when it's super, super cold out, you don't want to be breathing that into your lungs, especially if you have lung problems and so forth. Okay, so something to do. You want to stay dry. So that's why having an outer layer that's waterproof, especially for some things, but the base layer should wick the moisture away from you. And so they have certain materials, things you can buy that will wick that moisture away and help keep you dry. You don't want to get in a position where you're just really, really sweating inside your clothes and getting wet. So you got to be smart about that. You want to stay out of the wind. I mentioned it's going to be negative 10, but in the negative 20s wind chill here in Missoula, other parts of Montana in the negative 40s wind chill. You got to avoid the wind if you can. That will zap you really quick. And if you have exposed skin in minus 40, minus 45, sometimes we get over minus 50 here in Montana, wind chill, that can freeze the skin so quickly. It also drains your strength and such, being that cold. So staying out of the wind, important as well. Check on elderly people. Okay. A lot of times, some of the cold injuries and even deaths are from elderly. So make sure we keep our elder population safe and warm in these extreme temperatures. Pets, make sure that they're taken care of. Some animals fare better out in the cold than others. Rocky loves the snow and cold. But I'll tell you, when he went out this morning in negative 5 to do his business about 5 o'clock in the morning, he didn't stay out too long. He stayed out longer than I thought he would because I called him back in pretty quick. I was like, Rocky, you ready to come in? It's cold out there. And he was still messing around in the snow, but not that long. And then he came in and wanted back in. So depending on your pets, make sure they're taken care of. Okay. Cold weather, it's a fact of life when you live in the northern states and when it gets cold. Being prepared for it, being smart about it, it doesn't have to be as dangerous as sometimes it is. So just be smart, be prepared, and you can deal with cold temperatures. Want to say good morning to Dixon. Dixon says, what do you think about electric socks? They can help keep you warm, just like the hand warmers, especially if you're working in a job where you have to be outside. The main thing you don't want is you don't want your feet to sweat so much so it really depends on those. I've had them in the past and they were too much trouble to deal with, changing batteries and so forth. I just like good wool socks and warm socks and good boots. But electric socks, they're not terrible and they can help keep your feet warm. Just don't have them sweating and getting wet, and then you turn the powers off and you don't have them and you got wet feet. You don't want that out in the extreme cold. So if you regulated it, they could be okay. I'm not personally a big fan though. I mean, I was given some once for a gift and just wasn't a big fan. But if some people like them, great. I do like the little hand warmers when you're working out in the cold, because I've worked security in minus temperatures, and having hand warmers where you can have those in your pockets and warm your hands up and your pockets are nice and warm, or you put the real little ones down into your gloves and help keep your fingers warm, because I was wearing gloves, not mittens, because of the nature of some of the stuff I had to do. Those can be really nice. And I have those different hand warmers and toe warmers. You can buy packs of them. I have those in the bag that I take with me in my vehicle in cold weather. So I always have them available as well. So those are nice to have. So there's a lot of gear and a lot of equipment for the cold. And those of us that live in it, we have that equipment. If you don't have it and you're in the cold, you might want to invest in it just to have it for safety. Thanks for the question, Dixon. Appreciate everybody being here. Because it's probably going to be cold for a little longer, I didn't do it this last weekend, but maybe this weekend I'll have some information in the newsletter on cold weather as well. If you want that newsletter, enjoylifesafely.com. Get on that list. It's free. It's only information to make your life better, keep you safe, help you enjoy life, and help you be exceptional. That's what the newsletter's about. That's what we're about here at Coffee with Alain. Appreciate everybody who watches. Appreciate everybody that listens. Go out. Make it a terrific Tuesday. Stay warm. I will see you tomorrow.